reaching people all over the country and all over the world, because they're coming in from other countries. So social media is amazing. And I'm so glad for my daughter and son-in-law that helped us kicking and screaming and brought us into it, because I have no clue. Not that I'm clueless, just about social media. And I urge everybody that's here to get one of these. They're all over in the lobby downstairs in the hotel. And what I'm going to read for my opening remarks is actually what the Alliance wrote for this piece. And it's a little bit of history of the Alliance. And so forgive me if I'm reading this, but I figured it was important, and it's also the history. So why repeat it when we wrote such a good job? This year marks the 30th anniversary for the National Alliance of Families for the Return of America's Missing Servicemen's annual meeting. The Alliance was formed when Dolores Apodaca Alphon, former prisoners of war and family members of America's POW MIA from World War II, Korea War, Cold War, and the Vietnam War, grew dissatisfied with what they witnessed regarding the POW MIA accounting mission. Our founding members did not start their quest for truth 30 years ago, but had been involved in the POW MIA issue for several decades prior. The Alliance has kept true to their founding principles over the decades, and now include from the Gulf Wars, Operation Desert Storm, and Operation Iraqi Freedom, Afghanistan, which is our Operation Enduring Freedom, and those held hostage due to military and government work they were doing overseas on the behest of the U.S. government. As a respected and honest advocate, the Alliance continues its mission to represent our missing Americans and their families. We strive to work truly as an alliance and work with other nonprofits, academia, and concerned citizens to reach our goals, which are simple: the return of any live POW, a truthful, and I'm going to emphasize a truthful and accurate accounting, of our missing. The recovery and scientific identification of remains are a reasonable explanation as to why return, recovery, or a full accounting is impossible. As the decades have passed, the Alliance, as well as members of Rolling Thunder, have expanded their memberships from veterans, former POWs and their families, and the families of POW MIA, designated primary next of kin, PNOK, for POW MIA have become elderly or deceased, and the fight for our POW MIA has been passed on to generations far removed from their loved ones who were unaccounted for. This is a very sad state, which indicates how delayed the truthful and accurate accounting of America's POW MIA is. No matter how much time has passed, the Alliance's and Rolling Thunder's fight is still ongoing. The fight can be witnessed in our current world news. A key issue for the Alliance goes beyond the accounting of the remains for Americans. We seek an accounting from North Korea and the Vietnam War countries, from the North Korea and Vietnam War countries of Americans last known alive, in enemy hands who have not yet been returned. According to voluminous declassified files related to the Korea War, some of the missing American servicemen were sent from North Korea through China to the former Soviet Union. The fate of some of our Vietnam War servicemen can very likely be tied to the former Soviet Union as well. When we began 30 years ago, our national chairperson was Dolores Apodaca Alphon, and our primary modes of correspondence was typewritten letters and the Bits and Pieces newsletter, which was sent snail mail or fax. Our research included hours upon hours reviewing microfiche and printed material at the National Archives. When Miss Alphon passed in 2010, I was nominated and elected as a national chairperson's role. And Dolores is my sister, obviously. And we worked with the board of directors to fulfill Ms. Alphon's last wishes for the Alliance. Ms. Alphon wished for the Alliance's vast documentation and research regarding Vietnam War-era POW MIA to be donated to the Vietnam Center and Archives at Texas Tech University to keep the data available for future generations. The Alliance's information is being digitized and will eventually be available at their website, which is www.vietnam.ttu.edu. Much of our research was held in hard copy by Lynn O'Shea. Lynn was a concerned citizen and the Alliance's primary researcher. Ms. O'Shea worked tirelessly to research the vast POW MIA issue, built our Bits and Pieces newsletter, and built our original website to post information. When Ms. O'Shea passed away in 2015, the Alliance transferred more hard copy and digital information and other researchers to other researchers in various wars to continue the Alliance's research mission. The Alliance's research mission, our user-friendly website, YouTube channel, Pinterest, Facebook, and Twitter accounts also house various bits and pieces of our research. Our newsletter, Bits and Pieces, got its name due to the methodical process of gathering information over the last years to provide an understanding of the various POW MIA issues. We no longer fax our newsletter, but it can be found on our website and Facebook page. We are proud to have been part of Rolling Thunder's events from its beginning. Ms. Alphon and Ms. O'Shea were guest speakers and attendees during the Ride for Freedom events up until their deaths. In 2014, the torch was passed to another generation in the Apodaca family. Nicolette Apodaca Rose, my daughter. I'm smiling because I'm so proud of her. To represent the Alliance during Rolling Thunder's Ride for Freedom Speakers program. Ms. Rose is honored to represent the Alliance as well as our MIA family members from the Vietnam War, my brother, Major Victor Joe Apodaca Jr., and World War II's attack on Pearl Harbor from her father's side. And I'm going to read a poem that my sister Eleanor Apodaca from Arizona and Joyce Apodaca from Colorado, they couldn't be here. There's health reasons that they couldn't come. And this poem is something that they've been reading for years at different events. And I'm honored to read this on their behalf. My sister Eleanor has spent 52 years trying to get a truthful accounting of our POW MIA, not just on our brother's information, but she realized that the government was not being truthful in the information they were getting. And for a while she stood alone because people just could not believe that our government would allow this to happen to Americans, military and civilians, that they would allow them to be left alive. And this has happened from before World War II, but what we've worked on is just from World War II. And it's a shame because we're all getting older and we're passing the torch to younger ones, but they may and may not want to know about it. Our history in schools do not teach any history, not even wars. They don't want to know, they don't want our children to know that there is war. They don't want them to know that there's anything bad that happens until they're involved, when their brother, their sister, their uncle or aunt, their mom and dad are involved. And to be honest, that's how I got involved. I wouldn't probably know much about it until I was much older, until my brother was missing. I had no clue. I was too involved with what I wanted to do. So I'm not saying anything about this generation, but we need as adults to know about our history so we can teach it to others. And on the other side is my sister Joyce that lives in Colorado. They both work tirelessly on the POW issue, but we all also help veterans. And in Colorado, Joyce was pivotal in helping to put a house together, and she called it the Victory House, and it's named after our brother Victor. And it's a house that helps veterans that have no place to live. They can have extended stay, food and lodging, and also education to help them go out and find a job position and whatever they can do. So she's worked with some tech centers and also colleges to help these veterans and help with the money if they don't have it, which they probably don't. So I'm very proud of my sisters and what they do. And excuse me if I tear up, but this poem is a very sad poem, and it was written a long time ago. And it's entitled, I Am Alive. I am still here, still captive, still waiting. I'm not a sighting. I am not another Caucasian spotted report. I breathe, I hope, I ache. I long and hunger for my freedom. I am still here, still captive, still waiting. I am not yet just remains, not fragments, not dental records. I am whole, and I cling to my memories of you. I am still here, still captive, still waiting, but my voice cannot be heard. My pain is mine alone. Hear me, feel my agony, see me in your children's faces. I am here, still captive, still waiting. The guard has not the key. You do. Excuse me. Only you can free me now, or death. Your voices raised together can sing me home again, or in their silence. I am not here, not captive, for if forgotten, it cannot even be a memory. And this poem is apropos to the men and women that are civilians that are captured overseas in the Gulf Wars and in Afghanistan. And there's one gentleman who's a civilian that worked for the government, and he was captured and known to be alive. His long gray and white hair right now. And it's very sad that this poem, not only written years ago for our veterans from Vietnam, but it's apropos now. And it makes me very sad. But thank you again for being here and for listening. I appreciate it.